to the low-budget version of the Palm Springs Follies. The dancing girls are backstage, shaving. And I get to warm up the audience. My name is Mike Bailardo. I'm a magician, and I'm going to magician for you this evening. That's what magicians do, they magician. Now, some of you may have looked at me and thought, I'll bet he's a wizard. People frequently mistake wizards and magicians for each other. The easiest way to tell us apart are that wizards can't magish. But magicians, especially old magicians, whiz frequently. No doubt what category I fit in. Now maybe you thought you were going to see David Copperfield or something. You got magic one. The good news is that all magicians do the same effects. Mr. Copperfield just does them on a grander scale. It's simply called budget. With Mr. Copperfield's very large budget, he makes large animals appear. With my limited budget, the best I can do is a miniature rabbit. But the principle is exactly the same. If David Copperfield were here this evening, he'd have something similar to this. Now, of course, it would be much larger to hold that large animal in it. Then he would show you that the yellow tube fits over the red tube. Well, what a revelation, folks. The yellow tube is larger than the red tube. Why the hell wouldn't it? Then he would show you that the red tube fits over the clear plastic one. Now, Mr. Copperfield is very big on loose side or clear plastic. He likes you to be able to see everything that's going on at all times. Then he would take something like this yellow or gold-colored handkerchief, and he would place it inside the clear plastic tube. Now, by doing so, he very subtly proves the axiom that no two things can occupy the same space at the same time. We all learned about that in school. So consequently, if the handkerchief is in here, nothing else could be. Now, normally at that point in the program, a scantily clad, curvaceous assistant runs across the stage. Her name is Misdirection. Misdirection couldn't be here this evening, but if one of you ladies would like to volunteer, okay, well, we'll just pretend that she runs across. And while all your heads turn to watch her, the music would go up to hide the sound of that large animal coming up through the trap door. Of course, today it's just me and the little rabbit, so I can do it myself. And while you're being distracted by sight and sound, Mr. Copperfield would reassemble everything. Remember, the red goes over the plastic because the plastic is smaller. And then, of course, the yellow one goes over the red one because the yellow one is larger. Yes, of course, you got it. Then he would stand back and make that magical gesture. Today we need some magic. We need some magic words. So, how about, what was that? Mumbo jumbo. How about Hemet Elks on the count of three? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Good. And the rabbit appears. It's my favorite trick. Did you like it? Yeah, I know. That's right. I never have either. Yeah. I suppose you want to see the damn rabbit. Yeah, it never fails. I'll tell you what, if you concentrate your vision right about here, you'll see a little hair. It's about as good as it gets, folks. There's no rabbit in here. There's no rabbit, but there's no rabbit for a really good reason. Because I use that yellow and gold-colored handkerchief. You've never seen a gold-colored rabbit. Of course not. When you use a gold-colored handkerchief, you don't get a rabbit. You get goldfish. You got a whole bunch of goldfish, and that's the way that goes. The good news is we don't have any floaters. That's really good. Well, I'd like to say in all sincerity that this is a really, you're an attractive-looking group of people. Give yourselves a round of applause. Really. I work 2 or 3 nights a week, and it's a lot of nights it's like Halloween out there, but you're a good looking group. Yeah, you're good. I have here a back issue of the Desert Post Weekly. It's that's up in the I live in the Palm Springs area, and it's a Thursday paper. It comes out once a week. It's free. I kept this back issue because it's got an interesting article in here about the makeup of audiences in general. It's more of a survey than it is an article, and I can't speak for its validity because they don't say how many people were involved in the survey. They just merely report the results. And the article states that in the average audience, 2 out of every 3 people are handsome. That's the exact wording it uses. It says in the average audience, 2 out of every 3 people are handsome. Well, I thought that was a very polite way of saying that 1 out of every 3 people are ugly. I mean, we're talking about a lot of ugly people. We're talking about 1/3 of the world's population. But let's just reduce that to the population of this room this evening. Take a look at the person directly to your left. Take a good look at them, yeah. Study their features really well. Now, you may see the backs of a lot of heads that are turning to their left. Don't let that bother you, yeah. Now turn in the opposite direction and just view the person to your right. Get to know them rather intimately. Well, not too intimately. This is a family group here. Folks, now that you've done that, according to the article, if they both looked okay to you, guess what? The article's right here in the paper. I'll keep the paper here in case you want to read it later. Thank you very much. Anyway, as a newspaper tricks really are my favorite. I do this for a full-time living. I do travel all over the country. I used to do it with a large magic show, a couple of girls, and the whole 9 yards. Used to do Department of Defense shows for the military back in the old days. Now it's down to this size of a magic show, and the more hypnosis shows where I don't have to carry equipment with me. But I still work cruise ships fairly frequently, and I used to work them every summer, but this summer is not so. But anyway, long story. I used to get to Japan frequently. This is a copy of the Japan Times. It's written in English. It's a hotel edition. It's back. It's back from a couple of years. The whole paper's not here, obviously, but enough to do the effect. It's a little bit wider than our paper, but other than that, it's regular newspaper. It's regular texture, same material. I noticed on every trip to Japan, almost everyone has a copy of the paper tucked under their arm. And generally speaking, they're a little bit shorter than we are, and they walk very fast, and it's funny to see all these papers going back and forth. When I asked them why, they said, well, we have an awful lot of earthquakes in Japan, just like you do in California. We always like to be prepared, especially with good drinking water. So unlike you Americans who walk around with a water bottle all the time, we're much more practical. Since we already have our morning paper, we just take some good drinking water before we leave the house in the morning and pour it right into our morning paper. Then we just put the paper under our arm and we go about our day. Of course, come around noontime, we stop for lunch and read the paper. Now, I did find out that some of the Japanese people like to cheat. Some of the adults put things in here like beer, wine, sake. Some of the children put soft drinks in here. Perhaps they would put milk. If you ever get to that part of the world, you'll find juices are extremely popular, especially orange juice. But the ones that are really earthquake conscious, they carry their water here, so they always have it with them. And it doesn't matter whether they have an earthquake or not. Whenever they get thirsty, all they have to do is get a glass or a cup, take their morning paper, and simply pour themselves a drink. This should probably do it. If you say the magic word real loud at the count of 3, and you understand, Hemet Elks. On the count of 3. Good listeners here. The rabbit will appear in the doorway. So 1, 2, 3. All right, and the rabbit appears. Yeah, boy, that's in there. You weren't paying attention when I said this is a low-budget act. I can't make a real rabbit, but you think I'm a real magician? But I can make this one disappear. All I have to do is roll it up a little bit, toss it way back into the box. Close the doors, snap my fingers, reach into the hole in the top, feel around for the handkerchief, pull it back out the top, and as it comes through, the rabbit disappears. What, do you think I have two handkerchiefs? Oh, wait a minute, I'll take a look. No. I suppose you want to look at the box, too. All right, okay, I get busted every show. You're absolutely right, I have two handkerchiefs. You see, I come from a very poor family. My parents never had the money to send me to Hogwarts. I did get to see Harry Potter one time. I never met him, but I got to see him. He was talking to a bunch of magicians in a corner somewhere, and I thought I don't know if I heard him right, but I think I heard him say, "If you ever want to make a rabbit appear, you get a red box, and then you just wave your hands over it 3 times. You get a bunch of people to say a magic word." I have no clue, but let's have it Elks on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if it worked or not. She's a rescue, actually. I've only had her about 6 months. She's very well fed, like me. We eat together. So, if you want to say hello to her later, I'll let you say it. Only one show today, Bonnie. Yeah, back in the box. Okay.